Hey everyone, it's Ordinary Cheese Wizard, and welcome back to another Fire Emblem Heroes video, this time for one of my favorite videos of the whole year, where we are going to talk about predictions for the Choose Your Legends 9 art. Last year this video was pretty popular, so I'm hoping that everybody is still interested, and let me know in the comments who you want to see draw your favorites or who you think is going to be drawing the 4 selected units. Just like before, we are going to start with evidence, kind of. We're going to start with statistics here, and we are going to look at who has drawn the most Choose Your Legends units, and that usually gives us a pretty good indication of who might be drawing units this year. So, just like before, Wada Sachiko is undefeated with 8 units drawn, and that is followed by Kita Senri with 5, Kozaki Yusuke with 4, Hidari with 2, and Lack with 2, and everybody else has only drawn 1. I also looked at which artist drew which character in past Choose Your Legends to see if there was any kind of pattern, and yeah, I couldn't find one. The only pattern I could find is that Wada has drawn 1 unit for every CYL, so there's a pretty good chance that Wada's gonna draw 1 for CYL 9. Otherwise, it's kind of all over the place. I tried to look at Kita Senri and see if there was any pattern there, but there wasn't. It's just some years Kita Senri didn't draw anybody. Same thing with Kozaki Yusuke. And then there are some years where there are new artists, no rhyme or reason really, and that's that. So if we are going based purely on statistics, then these are my picks. I think that Byleth is going to be drawn by Wada Sachiko, Shirena is going to be drawn by Lack, Eiktharnir is going to be drawn by Kozaki Yusuke, and Baldur will be drawn by Kita Senri. There's really nothing to base those picks on other than that's what I think would be the coolest. Next up, we're going to go based on Choose Your Legends history, which I didn't talk about last year. But looking at it again, there have definitely been some patterns where the same artist will draw characters that are related in some way. We had Wada Sachiko drawing both male and then female Robin, and then for Lucina and Crom, same artist, same with Erica and Ephraim, that was Wada again, and Eliwood and Roy, also Wada. So maybe the real pattern is really just that Wada is the GOAT and is drawing versions of siblings and parents and children and the same characters. However, Kozaki Yusuke also drew both Lucina and Crom. So I think there is a very decent chance that they continue with this pattern, in which case male Byleth would be drawn by Fujisaka Kimihiko, who drew female Byleth, and Shirena would be drawn by Niji Hayashi, who drew Alphonse. Obviously this doesn't apply to Aik or Baldur because they're not really related to anybody from CYL history. So that is a mystery. You can take that rhyme for free. Moving on, I am going to look at the character versions that currently exist in the game. It's probably easiest to start this one with Baldur because we only have one version of her, and she is drawn by Maeshima Shigeki, and that's it. So if we go based on that, that's who's going to be drawing Baldur for CYL. Aik has had 2 artists. The first was Kozaki Yusuke, of course, and then both Winter and Summer Eiktharnir were drawn by an artist named P. Poco. And I think both of those arts are really great, so I would not mind seeing P. Poco make a CYL debut. When we get to Byleth and Shirena, they have a few more versions, so we'll go through those quickly. But Byleth has been drawn by Teita, Winter Byleth by Iori Suzuki, Legendary Byleth by Hagiya Kaoru, Desert Byleth by Azusa, and Brave Female Byleth by Fujisaka Kimihiko. Byleth is pretty interesting because nobody has drawn male Byleth twice, and I included Brave Female Byleth just because we talked about that already. There are at least 5 different artists that could be in the running if we go based off of artists who have previously drawn Byleth. As for Shirena, Her base version is drawn by Kozaki Yusuke, and so is Spring Shirena. And then we have Bride Shirena, drawn by Hanakoto, and her backpack version as part of New Year's Alphonse is drawn by Argon. And as I said before, Brave Alphonse was drawn by Nichi Hayashi. So Shirena does have the double Kozaki Yusuke, but I mean, Alphonse last year was not drawn by Kozaki Yusuke, who had drawn other Alphonse versions. So based on that, I think there's a pretty good chance that Kozaki Yusuke is not going to draw Shirena, but honestly, the patterns in CYL are not super easy to predict, and I would love to see a different artist get a go at drawing our best girl. And up next, I did look at Cipher Art. This again only applies to Byleth and Shirena. However, there were not a lot of Fae artists in this list, so I'm not sure that any of these artists will be drawing them, but again, who the heck knows. So the person who's drawn Byleth the most is named Chinatsu Kurahana, and the people who have drawn Shirena the most are tied between Daigoman, Kozaki Yusuke, Yamada Kotaro, and Hasumi Fumi. There definitely is some familiar names on these lists. For instance, it would be super cool to see Mayo draw Shirena, or Rika Suzuki draw Byleth. Please make that happen. We need Rika Suzuki to draw a CYL character. But that makes me wonder if there's some weird, like, legal or IS thing where certain artists get to draw CYL characters. It's kind of weird because Suzuki Rika is so popular, but hasn't drawn a single CYL character. And I think that's sad for us because it would be awesome, but it also means that it's kind of unlikely. It would be super cool to see Kita Senri draw Byleth, but I think last time none of the Cipher artists ended up drawing the CYL units, so I don't have a lot of faith that any of these are gonna be the final picks. And even more so because Eikthenir and Balder don't have any Cipher artists, so that would be a weird thing to do. But for consistency and being thorough, we're gonna say that Byleth would be drawn by either Nichi Hayashi or Rika Suzuki or Kita Senri, because that would be great. And Shirena would be drawn by Yamada Kotaro or Mayo, just if we're going based on Cipher Art. And now the part of the video that is based on nothing except for my personal preferences, and these are pairings that I just think would be super neat. It has some artists who are less well known, I guess, or just personal favorites of mine, and I think it would be really cool to see them get a stab at CYL art. Up first, we have my round 1 picks, and Byleth would be drawn by Sena. Sena hasn't drawn too many characters, but the ones that they have drawn are beautiful, and I think that style would suit Byleth super well. Sena's also drawn Fallen Dimitri and Yuri, so I feel like we have some Three Houses experience. I don't know if that would make a difference, but I just think that Byleth would look super cool in that style. For Shirena, I have picked Azutaro. I think that this style is also super cute. Everything is so soft and pretty. The hair is super shiny, which I always love, and I think that it would really capture how cute and sweet Shirena is. Some of the units that they've drawn before include Valentine's Edelgard, and that art is just like amazing. Legendary Ninian looks beautiful, and Duo Sigurd is so cute. I just love it. So I think that would be super cool. Also, notably, Azutaro drew Tsubasa, and we just have to shout out TMS so that everyone remembers it still exists, because it does. It does. Up next, for Eikthenir, I have picked Daisuke Izuka, and this one is a bit of a hot take for me because I don't always love his art style, but if we go based on more recent art like Fomortis, or even Medius or Nidavellir, I think that this style would be super cool, and I mean, we know that the guy can draw muscles, so like, that seems like a really good fit. And for Boulder, I have selected Ekau. I feel like Ekao has been getting a lot of Fae work recently, and for good reason. The art is beautiful. They draw women in such like a lovely way. Resplendent Corin is still one of my favorite Resplendents, and more recently we've had characters like Meliai and even Valentine's Reyes, so I think that Baldur would look really pretty in that style, and I think people would be super happy with that. So there we go, that is round 1! Woohoo! And now for round 2. First up, we have Byleth again, and I have picked Akka to draw Byleth. And this would be really interesting because so far Akka has not drawn any men, but I think that Desert Altina, Katria, and Brave Lucina's Resplendent look absolutely amazing. So I would love to see Akka take that on and give Byleth a go. Especially if it's unfortunately in the Sothis regalia, which I think is pretty ugly, and I really hope that we don't get Byleth in the Sothis regalia. But based on what they did with Robin, I think that is extremely likely, so I think at least Akka could do a pretty good job with that. For Sharena, I have picked Kaya 8. I'm going to keep naming Kaya 8 every year until they draw a CYL character, because I have always had a soft spot for their style. I think that the Azuras are all super pretty. I think the shading is really nice, and there is even a little bit of variety if you look at some of the earlier stuff versus some of the later stuff, but I think it's all really well done, and I think that Sharena will look super cute in that style. Next we have Eikthenir, and I have selected Hagia Kaoru for Eikthenir, not Byleth. But I think that Aik would look super cool in this style, especially because Hagia Kaoru has the ability to just draw like the most handsome looking men, young Hector excluded. But the rest of them just, I don't know, there's something about the art where I think it just looks really great, and they can tackle like very different looking characters. And finally for Baldur, I have chosen Mai Okuma. Attune Shida has some of the prettiest art in the game, in my opinion. It is so soft and is just so pretty, and I think that the other characters that they have drawn fit well with Baldur's vibe, like Tharja and Camilla. I feel like there's something about those characters that would just work well with Baldur's whole thing, and maybe we'll get to see that. So that is round 2. If you agree so far with any of my picks, or if you are hoping to see a particular artist, definitely let me know in the comments. But now, we're moving on to round 3. Up first we have Byleth, and I have selected Penacor to draw Byleth. Penacor did draw one CYL unit in the past, which was Brave Tiki, and I think Penacor tends to draw more men. But that is just a vibe, and I mean, I could have also used the power of statistics for this, because Penacor has just drawn a ton of characters for Fae. So I think that they could definitely do a good job with Byleth, and we will just hope that Penacor continues to draw actual noses and not just straight lines. For Sharena, I have selected Neon, who has drawn characters like Citrine and Naga and Attune Micaiah, and I think that those are all really detailed, and I would love to see Sharena get some sick upgrades. And again, the hair is really shiny but kind of soft, and I am a sucker for that, so I think Sharena would look lovely, and I would be thrilled to see some neon CYL art. Next, for Eikthenir, I would love to see Sotaro draw Aik, because again, we have experience with muscles, but they have a very painterly style, and I think that would look really cool, and also like a little bit softer than we've seen Aik before. I just, like, come on, Pirate Surtur still has some of the most amazing art, and I don't even get that mad when I summon Basilio, because I'm like, dang, his art is really, really great. So I think that that would be a really cool combination. And finally, for Baldur, I have chosen Esual. Esual drew Corin for CYL, and more recently has drawn characters like Emblem Lin, I think all of their art is, again, super lovely, really pretty, very feminine, and I think they would do a really excellent job with Baldur and maybe give her a little bit of a different take than the current version that we've seen. And that sums up round 3. We're now moving on to round 4, the final round. First, we have Byleth, and I have selected Riz 3 to draw Byleth. This artist has some really beautiful art. We recently got Resplendent Titania, and even though I love her original art, I think the Resplendent is super pretty. Same thing with Valentine Lucina, but this artist has also drawn characters like Sed, who I think honestly kind of looks pretty similar to Byleth, like short hair mage dude. So I think that would be a pretty nice combo. For Sharena, I have picked Toby. Similar to Kaya 8, I have a soft spot for Toby. I just love the art. I think it's always just really cute. And I think for Sharena in particular, it would be perfect because the style does tend to skew like a little bit younger, and I don't think that would be a problem for Sharena. I think she would just look adorable, and I want to see some Toby CYL art. Okay, the next one is, I don't know, maybe a hot take. I honestly can't even picture what this would look like, but for Eikthenir, I have chosen Hakan because I love Hakan. I don't know, I just think for like a super muscly deer dude, I would just love to see what Hakan did. I love Hakan art. If there is a Resplendent release for a Hakan character, I usually turn it off because it's so soft, it's so pretty. The blending is amazing, and I think it would be super cool to kind of go with an artist who is almost against the type of character and see what they do. Hakan is super talented, it's nothing they can't handle. And finally, I have chosen Tefish to draw Baldur. I think Tefish has drawn a lot of different types of characters, and I think that they could make Baldur look really awesome. Just super cool and super pretty, and yeah, I don't really have much more to say than that. And those are the picks for round 4. So in total, I've given a lot of different predictions. Last year, I got 2 of them correct. I mean, I gave myself a ton of chances, so the fact that I still didn't get them all, I guess don't trust my predictions, but like, maybe do. I don't know. You can do whatever you want. Mostly, I just like this as an excuse to talk about artists in Fae because we are treated to so much amazing art, and even though we get like a dud every once in a while, it is overwhelmingly so cool and so amazing that we are just flooded with amazing art from these artists. So definitely let me know if any of your favorites made the list, if you think that I'm absolutely crazy for suggesting any of the pairings that I did, or let me know what your predictions are. In the past, we can kind of count on IS to make the most boring decisions, so I think usually the statistical analysis tends to help a little bit, or going based on the history, which would be disappointing, just like when we got Robin in the exact same outfit as Robin from the year before. But it is what it is, and I think there's still a chance that we will get 4 incredible new arts for these characters. I personally am super excited for Sharena, and I can't wait to see what Eikthenir looks like. I know people are really excited about all of them, so let me know what you're looking forward to most. Happy CYL season coming up, and I can't wait to see what happens. And, as always, remember, keep it cheesy.